So I'm going to cover, I know you won't have HoloLenses, but still it's good to know how to deploy the same application to HoloLens if you have it. So if you can see, so I will have this HoloLens with me. This is HoloLens generation number 2, which you can also deploy the same thing to generation number 1. It's just their gesture and the sensors are a little bit different. And you don't have to follow this if you don't have HoloLens. So I'm just opening a new script, a new project, and re-imported the MRTK package. But in this case, I tested with 2.5, so I'm going to just use 2.5 to test it. So the order of installation should be okay, but I normally feel like foundation and extensions and then everything else, it should be more sufficient. But it says all of these others are optional. So for now, I'm just going to have foundation and example installed. I didn't import the example, so I will have the example. Okay, in the meantime, okay, it's all installed already. Okay. And then I'm going to just deploy a example file. So UX maybe founding of scene, this one. And the most important thing is the build settings. So add the open scene, and before that I have to mention few things. So in the installer, you have to make sure that add module and you have this thing installed, ticked. Windows build support, ticked. Make sure you have that ticked. And the others were ticked by default, so I didn't really change it. But if you want, just follow these settings. You really don't need anything else. Another thing about Visual Studios. So if you type Visual Studios and you have an installer when you installed it. So it will ask you for update very often. And once you update it, it's allowing you to modify the plugin so you can add different modules. And make sure you have these things ticked. So game development with Unity and universal Windows platform development and desktop development, I suppose. So I have these 4 things ticked. And they can say modify and wait for a bit and your Visual Studio is ready. So before you have your project, do make sure you have those ready. And that was an instruction from the link that I sent you earlier. So here, So it's actually asking you to install the foundation. Extensions are optional. And they're saying the order as well here. So, and they're also saying if you have some errors like this, take the note and everything. So you can kind of follow this instruction. So what I'm telling you now is basically from this instruction. And if there's any issue, just follow that. So so you make sure that you have all that. Oh, and make sure you have this Windows SDK installed, which is also linked here. So just make sure you go follow this link and update the installer and update it. So you have to do these 3 things in the installation. Okay. And they're saying this or later is recommended. Okay, that's fine if you have 19.4. Okay, and let's go back to the build settings. In the build settings, you have to switch platform to Universal Windows platform. I wish I switched it before I import everything, but let's switch. Because sometimes, for me at least, sometimes it takes forever or it doesn't switch forever. And it's really frustrating if you have built a lot of different things and scenes and everything, and it just don't want to switch the platform. So I don't know if you have that issue, but just to prevent that issue, just switch platform earlier if you are very sure which platform you are building. Okay. Apply. All right, great. So there is no error. Great. Player settings. So this is the Windows platform. So in the settings, there are a few things a little bit different. So there is this XR setting in the bottom. You need to tick this thing. It's gonna take a bit. Say apply. Okay, something happened here. And virtual reality SDKs, and you can plus a, okay, so there's mixed reality. So if you don't see this, you can plus and say add a mixed reality, Windows mixed reality, and then change this one to 16-bit. Okay. And then the XR settings are done. Go to player settings and publish setting. Make sure you use a unique name. Your name is going to make it quite unique. And then you need to change this package name to something unique as well. Something like that. And then there is something called capabilities. You need to tick so spatial perception, it's already ticked for me on default. And microphone, you need to have microphone on. Okay, so make sure that these two is ticked. So spatial perception and microphone is on. Okay, that's it. That's it for the settings. Close it, and you are ready to build it. And for this building, it's building to HoloLens. So this actually builds to a folder first. And then you have to open this in Visual Studio. Select this folder. And if this deploys successfully, it won't error. And you notice that we didn't have to do anything to the example file. We didn't have to change any settings there. It's just the project setting. And what's going to happen here is it's going to create a Visual Studio package here. And in the meantime, I have my device connected through a USB to my computer. Also, if you have the device, you have to enable the deployment of the device. So here's a link. While we're waiting for it, okay. Okay, awesome. Didn't give me any error message. And it worked. Okay. So now this SLN file should have this Visual Studio icon. And you can just double click on it. And you don't have to worry if there's nothing here because the project is open. And this is a status bar. That's the most important thing that we need to worry about. Okay. And then here, just change this ARM to ARM64. And change the remote machine from remote machine to device because I have it connected. And make sure that my device is connected. And then just play and build. And then I'm gonna just play. So it says build start, build started. And very soon this will, I hope it says no error message. And it should be able to launch in HoloLens. Today I'm having some issue for streaming it, but I can show you some recordings from the HoloLens. It says it has error. Say continue. Okay. There were some errors, but it might play here. So let me just check it. Might not be able to. So I can. I will just make sure that this is working. show, what was the name of it? SDK. Seems like I don't see that app. I see some empty icon. I will click on it. If I see a lot of copy puffs, I'm successful. So even if there are some error messages, sometimes it works. Okay, this one is something that I deployed previously. It seems like I cannot find it. Okay, we don't waste time on this one. But I have a few recorded versions, so I'm going to share that. So in the HoloLens, so this is what I recorded from my living room. So that's what you will see from your HoloLens. So if you have it successfully exported, so it's loading a little slow. I'm just watching to find, it's loading a little bit slow, isn't it? Yeah, and it appears. And that's actually what you can see through Google. Here I have recorded some examples with showing you how they're used, what are the interactions that you can actually work with. So these are button pressing, and you can also record it. You can also toggle different visibilities of your hand. You can see that both hands are actually recognized. You can also see that all these bounding boxes have different displays. And by doing that, you can access the main menu. And you can close, yeah. So in this main menu, you can use this button for recording. So I'm actually recording it. That's why it's highlighted. You can also take a picture at any time. And this button is to access your home. And yeah, so you can use this or this to see all other apps that you deploy or you installed on this device. So there is where you can see also your application. So I also have recorded a few more things from the example hub. So if you go to their example, do you also hear the sound? Did I share the sound? No. I did share the sound, but maybe it was too small. Yeah, so I think one of the important development of AR or kind of concept of AR is to let people intuitively understand if they're touching or interacting with things. So the sound effect is pretty important to consider. That's why you can also kind of experience a little bit about the sound. So the clicking sound, this kind of grabbing sound. So these are some section sliders. One thing I really recommend is that, I mean, I'm not like expert of like this, and it's really good to set up the mind so you develop things from developing it from their provided examples instead of trying to make something from scratch. Like it's the technique is just getting so much more complex. But they provided so much, a lot of interesting examples where you can also modify a lot of different things like size of the section, grabbers, all this. Some of these materials you can see that when you go closer, they are also getting different effects, like they 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 shine when you get closer and stuff. So if you explore their example files, there are a lots of interesting things that you can already use from the templates. They also, the HoloLens also tracks your eye position, your eye.
Put this
That I'm just looking at that to
there.
and triggering with my sound.
Put this there. Put this there.
I'm just looking
Put
at
this
it. I feel like I'm a magician or something.
there. Put this.
It's pretty fun to interact with. Yeah. This one, when you look at it,
Explode.
it starts to, yeah. So when you gaze,
Select.
it starts to rotate, and if you select it, it explodes.
Select. Explode.
And the sound is pretty satisfying. So you really want to also, if you are developing
Hide
a
cursor.
AR app, you really want to consider the sound
Hide
effect.
cursor.
These are templates of menus. So the feature of these menus are, of course, you can change all these icons to something nicer. You can pin them like that, but if you don't pin them, they follow you. If you unpin it, it follows your location. And so more examples. So when you raise your hand palm, the button appears. So that's also a way to kind of hide or unlock or pin, access your menus. So this one is a large menu. You can grab and pull and pin it. And this one, it automatically pins if your palm disappears. Yeah, it automatically pins. So that's the difference between the first one and the second. And this one is showing how it tracks your eyeball. So basically when you look at this panel and it starts to draw the heat map from your eye gaze. So I'm looking at this. I'm not necessarily like moving my head, I'm just gazing them, and it creates heat map. Maybe it can be some interesting use of that. You can also record it. Then let's go to the other example. These are different slates window. You can zoom in, and you can also have different controls of scrolling, vertical or horizontal. This one is just showing you that call out kind of thing. This one appears only when you click on it. There are things that are permanent. They're toggling on press. They're showing on focus. So these are different examples that you can also consider to use them.
Excuse me?
Hi.
Hi, hello. I don't want to be rude, but I don't know if anyone else has got like a HoloLens. I certainly don't. Yeah, I'm actually rather interested in the whole mobile application
Sure,
thing.
but this MRTK, I'm just going through all the examples.
Okay.
That you can also use it in HoloLens, using mobile, unless
okay.
unless there are features that only applies for HoloLens. For
okay,
example,
so
basically like eye gaze, for example, it doesn't work in mobile phone. Yes.
Yeah.
Hand
Okay.
doesn't work, but all these example files are applicable for mobile phones as well.
Oh, really? So they're all like. Can you maybe highlight the ones that are applicable for mobile?
Yes, of course. Everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, most of the things. For example, yeah, of course, these don't. You don't have hand. The eye tracker, of course not. But yes, these ones, slates. These are same as. So you can import this one, and you can use it in HoloLens using mobile phone. It's as same as HoloLens. These ones are also applicable. Of course, these ones are about the call out of this kind of like labels, extra labels. Does it make sense?
Yeah. What is that one called? What
These
example?
ones. So basically, okay, I didn't clarify which ones like literally not usable for
mobile.
What is it? Yeah, mobile. But most of the things, apart from like eye gaze and hand tracking, everything is working with mobile phone over clicking.
Okay, cool, got it.
Yeah, and for example, if you're using two hands to like stretch it, you can use pinching in mobile phone. It's same kind of access. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Got it.
Okay, so all of these examples, you can actually deploy this in mobile phone. And if the feature of input feature like eye sensors are not supported, it's not gonna work, but it's going to be deployed for no problem because you are using MRTK.
They have advanced. If they don't have HoloLens, they can use the HoloLens emulator in the computer.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
really? Where can I get that one?
that one is not, we didn't have it deployed quite successfully because you need like proper Windows 10, and your computer should support virtual simulation. But yeah, it's possible that you can kind of consider using HoloLens emulator. But from my experience, it was not very successful. And if you are going to develop HoloLens devices, HoloLens app, it's better you get a HoloLens to test it. But anyways, these ones basically are very much applicable for mobile phone, this example. So what was this one was showing is pressing, when you are pressing this one, when you are getting closer, it highlights with color. So this will be like literally doing the same thing with mobile phone. You just won't have this hand. So this one was when you're pressing, you have color. You have press with color changing, and you have this pink light highlighted. You can also press the piano in mobile phone. You can.
Yeah, I actually have deployed it to my
iPhone
iOS device, and it works.
Yeah.
The only thing that is really weird, I have to press the buttons twice in order for it to work. Is there like maybe a workaround, or like is that intentional, or how does it work?
No, it should work in one click. Maybe it didn't register very well.
Yeah.
Maybe you can kind of try to press it with more time, maybe.
No. If I pressed another button, I have to press, like, if I press one button, I have to press it twice, and then it works on one time. But when I press another button, then I have to press that one twice, and then it works on the first press.
I think it's not a normal error, but yeah, it might happen. Yeah, device to device have different kinds of issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay, so these few videos were intentionally to just go through all the examples that are available in the MRTK package. So they were all okay, so they are all in this example demo. Yeah. And yeah, if you have time, just I really suggest you to go through them and at least know what are available. So you can actually decide which example file you will bring into your project and start to modify it. That's the intention of showing this video. Was that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I will just finish playing the final few bits of this video, okay? So there was finally this one is also showing about the
Come to
eye
me.
gaze zoom
Send back.
and the sound kind
Come
of access. So maybe,
Zoom.
but just try to
Zoom in.
explain what's available.
Zoom out.
So these ones are about gaze, eye gaze. You can look at it and let it do
Come to
something.
me.
And then you can trigger some behavior. And you can use your hands to move things. And then finally, you can, this one is like scrolling down when you start to read and your gaze is somewhere on the bottom, you start to scroll down and scroll up and stuff. Okay, that was it for the example. So these were all the examples they provided so far. And I think it's really good that you know what's available and start to modify that example file and put them inside your project. Okay. All right.